but I do want to welcome all of you to this discussion this afternoon. It's personal to me. It's very personal, and because I take it seriously and to heart that I want to help each and every one of our clients, whether they're mine, Don's, Saritha's, whoever they are. If they're affiliated with the VBOC, I want to make sure I take it to heart. I really mean it when I say, if there is anything that we can do to assist you along your success, that's what I want to do. That's what makes me happy besides my family, doing what I do at the VBOC. So each and every one of you are like my business family, and I love each and every one of you and care so much about your business. And it's been so crazy for us that I don't have the time to pick up the phone all the time and say, you know, hey Lisa, how you doing? How are things going? Haven't talked to you in a month or 2 months. What's going on? And Donna, I know you are Don's client, but I still love you the same as if you were mine. And Don keeps me informed of what everybody's doing. And I'll say, well, Don, what's up with Donna? You know, what's going on? And he'll tell me. And so it's really great. And I've been so, as I was saying from the beginning, I've been so excited about this discussion today. It's been like it's the highlight of my week. We have been watching and taking part in a virtual conference, as I was saying, the SBA's National Small Business Week. It's been very interesting, but honestly, I've been very, it's been exciting to see how some of the other departments are working with the SBA, all of what's happening up there that helps, excuse me, when I talk too much is what happens.
Okay.
It's exciting to see how each of the departments, what they're doing really kind of impacts us as veteran entrepreneurs. And also to see, we saw some success stories yesterday. And I think somebody here that's in this discussion is knowing, she knows what I'm talking about. And maybe she doesn't. She's getting these certain looks. Yesterday, after Don and I were very, very proud, because there were the SBA out of the entire nation and all of the thousands of VBOC clients that we have amongst the 22 different VBOC centers, they decided on 2 success stories that they were going to put out nationwide and show during the conference yesterday afternoon. And it was Miss Chelsea Mandello. So let's give her a hand. Absolutely. Absolutely.
You. I didn't know that.
I'm so happy for you. And then my phone started like, started blowing up, and my phone was dinging, and it was people who saw it and said, oh my God, I just saw Chelsea. I just saw Troopster, blah, 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 blah. So I'm sure you were too busy to be on yesterday afternoon, Chelsea, but it was out there. And that's why these success stories, when we ask you to work with us to do a success story, like we did one for Lisa here recently.
Thank you.
We've also, let's see, we did another Michael Stack's story on Bold Mariner Brewing, because he's now like grown like crazy since they did the first one. And they had specifically asked when they did his first one about, I guess it's been 4 years ago now, they wanted to, he told them what his goal was, his 5-year goal. And he exceeded that by, he was a year early in achieving it. And that was that he wanted to buy his own facility, and that's his goal and his growth dream. And so they said they wanted to come back. When that happened, they wanted to come back and do a second part 2 Bold Mariner Brewing video. So looks like that might be happening sometime maybe in the spring, I think. But for those of you who haven't seen Chelsea's video with regards to Troopster, are there a show of hands of who hasn't seen it? Okay, all right. I'll have Emily send it out to you, Lisa, and to Steve.
Thank you.
It's pretty cool to watch, and we love to do a success story on each one and every one of you.
I see Chelsea's video on Facebook. She's out jogging.
We're running for the troops.
That's right.
Oh gosh, that's so cute. Yeah, that is so cute. But Chelsea, I do want to get with you offline. Well, I won't be here next week. I will be here, but I'll be working remotely. My new grandson comes into the world on Monday morning.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, so exciting. So when this discussion is over, I'm getting in my car and I'm driving to North Carolina because that's where my daughter is, who's really pretty much expecting any minute. And she's got twins that are 3.5, almost 4. And then she's got a 6-year-old that'll soon be 7. And if she should go into labor, there's no one there to keep the children because they don't know anyone. They just moved down there, and they don't know anyone. They've met their next door neighbors on either side, but they don't feel right if something should happen to ask them to keep their children until I get there, especially if it's 4 o'clock in the morning or something crazy. So I'm going on down and I'll work remotely there because, you know, these days, why does it matter? It's just a different scenery, that's all. So I'll work down there until the baby comes. And then I'll stay a couple of days after, 2-3 days after, to help her to get on the schedule. So anyway, what I wanted to say is welcome each and every one of you, and that you're here for a reason. That's because you're at a certain place in your business where we know that you are either in a growth phase or you have been and you're still there. Because we needed folks that had enough experience under their belt as a small business owner to be able to join in on the discussion and take part. And I just want to say one more thing about the videos. If we contact you for a success story, please say yes, because we work with you to get most of it done, and then you're poised for them to come and do a video. Okay. All right. So that's pretty much the welcome. I just want to thank everybody for participating here this morning, and for all of our support from Emily and from Troy. Saritha is going to kick off. We have, just so you know, I didn't want to send you an agenda on purpose because I want you to think off the cuff. And I think because when you think off the cuff, the results of a discussion like this ends up having so much more meaning and being so much more personal, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to ask 3 questions, but we want to give each and every one of you the time to tell your story, okay? And then at the end of that, I'll be doing just a closing, and you know, if there's any questions or even remarks that you want to make. But there's 3 questions, and Saritha's going to do the first 2, and I'll do the 3rd one, and then the closing. So we're ready anytime you are, Miss Saritha. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I want to thank everyone for allowing us the opportunity to have you at this roundtable discussion, and for the National Small Business Week. We really look forward to hearing your story. So my first question is, please share your COVID-19 story with us on how you are saving your business and navigating through the challenges of these times. And then, do you expect to survive? And you guys can just speak up as one at a time, whoever is brave enough to go first.
I'm Arizona Brown, and I'm the president and CEO for ASJ IT Services. Also, we're doing business as ASJ Solutions, and we provide professional expertise on government contracts in logistics and also in IT services. And so to tell the story about the COVID-19, on my way back, it was actually March the 13th. I think this is pretty funny to kind of open it up, right? It was actually the Friday, March the 13th. We were on our way back on Interstate 95 heading north from Georgia, coming back from seeing my grandkids. That was the last time I seen them. But anyway, we get a call from a friend of ours, and they said, "Hey, where y'all at? Buy all the toilet paper you can buy." And we like, what in the world is going on? And so that's kind of how we entered COVID-19 era, trying to, coming back, trying to see what are people talking about buying all this toilet paper. I mean, when we got back, we found out why. But it was during that same time, I got a call from one of my people that I have a contract with at Langley, and he told me he was dissatisfied with one of our employees, and he was letting him go, and he wanted me to let him go that day. And I'm like, I'm on Interstate 95. What? And no meaning, no type of heads up or anything. And so that Monday, I had to go and do that, release an individual. But because of COVID-19, that was one of our biggest challenges in filling those type of positions. So my challenges during COVID-19 is actually staffing and funding, because they kind of go hands in hand, and also keeping our employees safe. But the biggest challenge was really in my staffing. And so it took us, what normally would take us 2 to 3 weeks to fill a position, it took us, 2.5, 3 months.
Why do you think it took so long?
Because people were, for example, we had hired one individual, has signed the offer letter. He's going to be here on, keep in mind, this was at the end of March, and he was going to be in place on 1 May. He calls us about 2 weeks before that in the middle of April and said that his wife's grandmother is elderly in Texas, and they're having the outbreak there, and they want to go there and take care of her. So that's COVID-19.
Oh, I remember that now.
Diverting folks, right? Absolutely. And so a lot of people didn't want to leave where they were at. They were like, well, we don't know what's going to happen, so we're going to go, and just stay here unless you pay us another $50,000 or whatever.
What?
But
I'll be going to work for you
people were
then.
trying to ask, big time money and stuff. But so we weathered through it. Yes, we weathered through it, but it did cost us a lot. It was a really challenge, and I had another individual who felt, because he found out that he had a heart condition, he had to leave that position. These are some very niche military positions that I'm talking about. They clearances required.
So they're hard to replace, difficult to fill.
Absolutely. In the normal times, they're hard to replace. But now you had COVID there, and people feeling like they're unsafe to come to work. So because he had a pre-existing condition, he just felt, even though the government was cutting back on the different schedules and things, he didn't have to come in. He came in 1 week and off the next week and stuff like that. So he left, and that, again, another opening. And so the staffing part of that integrated with the funding part, because it costs. We had to come out more in our recruiting effort than we had planned. And of course, that's when we, of course, applied. And before then, we had actually, when it first came out for the PPP and for the EDIL, we applied for both of them. And we did turn down the PPP because of being a government contractor and being on the type of contracts that we were on. They were firm fixed price contracts. It was very unclear at the beginning about what would be forgiven and what wouldn't be forgiven. And so a lot of people were, of course, some companies were taking it and they shouldn't take it. So we made a business decision not to take the PPP, but to take the EDIL. And we did get
What
awarded.
in the world? I have no
Yes.
idea what that is.
When we did get EDIL, we took half of that just because we were getting paid from the government. However, on the gap positions, on the staffing position, we weren't getting paid. When they went over a certain time, we weren't getting paid, for it being gapped.
Well, that's why I'm wondering why you didn't take the PPP.
Because, like I said, what is being forgiven and what's not being
Oh, you
forgiven.
weren't, that's the reason, because you weren't sure.
Because they're firm fixed price contracts. The government may turn to us and say, okay, I've already paid you that money, so now you owe me this.
Right.
Yes.
So it's so totally different than someone who's doing commercial work. Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, did you apply? Are you in the process of applying, or have you already applied for the forgiveness for?
We have the only forgiveness that we have is at 10,000 that comes with the EDIL.
Well, 10,000.
Absolutely, that helps tremendously because it helps to fund that recruiting I was telling you about. The recruiting effort,
Put
for
that
one
money
company,
towards that.
basically.
Yeah, that's
For one company, one position. It helps to fund that.
Yeah.
And but the funding, the staffing, they were our biggest challenges. And we have really learned through all of that. We have a niche recruiter now, a recruiting company that their specialty is military and having people with secret clearances and all that. That's their specialty, and they're a small company as well, where they're not, charging you so much.
That's great.
It took us a while to find them, and
sure.
But by that time, we had paid out a lot of money in staffing this year that we had not planned, and so, but that's and now with the other part of that is now we're at the end of the year, and at the beginning of the year, at the end of the fiscal year, the beginning of the next fiscal year, and the government in the Navy, parts of the Navy don't have funding. So the contracts are up for their option year and there is no funding for it. So the intent is to fund you. However, the intent is to exercise your option, but you don't have any funding right now. So that's a day-by-day kind of thing.
They'll get it come October.
Yes, and so, but we're prepared. We feel better about it now because we do have the EDIL that we can, rely on. That's in place.
That's great.
And also our line of credit is in place. So, but that's how we overcome, is putting those things in place and getting those.
That's great because you shared with us what you did do. You shared with us what your concerns were.
Right.
You shared with us the areas that were challenging you, being,
Yes.
and the funding and so on and so forth. But here you are, and you made it through to this point.
Yes.
It's awesome. So
and we are so thankful because through it all, we still got two other, we got one position, one contract in August, a subcontract under a company. And then it's the IT contract.
Okay.
And then we have a contract that we're about to get in October.
So it seems like things are turning.
Yes.
I always associate being prior Navy. It's like, are we turning?
Yes.
Like a fast attack nuclear sub?
Yes.
Or a destroyer? Or are we turning like we're an aircraft carrier?
Yes.
Right now we're turning like we're an aircraft carrier, but we're all happy just to be turning towards some things opening up. And so thank you so much for sharing that. We would listen to more and more, but we want to make sure that we get around.
I know. Let's go around. I want to hear
Thanks
others.
so much for sharing
I
that.
can't wait to hear Steve.
It was very, you can't wait to hear who?
Steve.
Oh, Steve, everybody. Steve's got some things in his back pocket, let me tell you. Some stuff he's working on. And
years old. How you doing?
I'm good. I'll be watching you, Steve.
He'll be sharing. I'm proud of him too, because this man can move and adapt like nothing I've ever seen. So, okay, who wants to go next? Saritha, tell them, let's go.
We had somebody who was trying to go. So I'm like, where'd they go? What happened to them? I think it was Donna.
Oh, Susan is back. I just wanted to say real quick, Susan Hunter, she did get to join us. I saw you out of the corner of my eye. Welcome. Glad you could make it, Susan.
I'm happy to be here. Sorry, I had to step away for a minute.
It happens. You got a business to run. Yeah, that comes first. So who's going?
Sharitha, I don't mind sharing our story.
Okay, go ahead, Chelsea.
All right. So hi guys, my name is Chelsea Mandello. Hi. I operate a military care package company called Troopster. We are kind of like the Amazon of military care packages, but nonprofit version.
Love that analogy.
Yeah. And I gotta say, so I remember our first week in the office in January. I met with my team. We did this whole New Year's Eve thing where we brought in champagne and we did like a mimosa meeting.
Oh, I kind of like that meeting.
It was great. It was a great meeting. It was a great start to the year.
And you didn't invite us?
Sorry. It was a closed Monday meeting. Sorry.
Okay. All right. You're off the hook this time.
Yeah. Next time. But we were all so excited about 2020 because last year was amazing. We had 22 events all around the nation where we went out to like San Diego and held community pack events, sending care packs to troops. We went down to Texas. We were in Utah. I mean, we were all over. Yeah, and we had sent, over 5,000 care packages. So we were really looking forward. Yeah, we were really looking forward to
I had no
year.
idea it was that many.
Yeah, 22 events. And we were planning our whole schedule and we were getting events on the calendar. And I remember in March, I suddenly started getting these emails and right off the bat, we had 7 events get canceled. So 7 businesses said, hey, we can't do this right now. We're going to have to completely cancel. And it was a domino effect where all of a sudden we didn't have any events. We weren't able to, all of our prices for our wholesale items shot through the roof. We had items where they were suddenly on back order from companies, so we weren't receiving the items to put in our care packages that we normally would have received. And it became so chaotic, it became a mess. And all of a sudden, I was having to bring my same team in to this room where just weeks ago, we were all so excited for this year. And then I was having to say, guys, unless something changes, this isn't going to survive. This isn't going to make it. We can't make this if we don't do something.
Right.
And it was a very, very, very scary moment for us. We had volunteers who had to drop out. 2 employees who'd been with us for 2 years had to leave because we couldn't pay them. And so we being myself and my husband Travis, because I volunteered him, we started brainstorming of,
Poor
okay,
Travis, you've been volunteering for years.
I really have. I have. And now he has a desk in the office and he loves it. He's fine.
Oh, that's awesome. You got him
Guys
in.
call that a honeymoon.
I got him involved. Yeah.
So he can do more hard work.
Yes. Oh yeah. And so we had to pivot. We had to really put our heads together. We had applied for the EDIL.
The IDLE.
And yeah, the IDLE. And then we started thinking, well, how else can we send care packages? And who needs help? And we started looking at our healthcare heroes, like the nurses, and we had been receiving correspondence from hospitals and from nurses and from healthcare workers saying that they were working overtime, that they didn't have the things that they needed. And so we started using our wholesale partners to see if we could get those items. And we made a little bit of a pivot where we started sending healthcare items instead of just our personalized packs.
Great idea.
Good idea.
Yeah.
That's that
We had to
being
make that
flexible,
pivot.
being agile that I'm
Oh yeah.
referring to.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, so we ended up packing 1,000 medical essential kits in one day.
Oh my
And
gosh.
yes, that was a very long day.
Wow.
Very long day. But we did it safely, very COVID conscious, and then we started supplying health kits to schools, to universities as well. And now it really has changed our focus and our shift. We're still sending the personalized care packs, but now we're looking more broad scale for sustainability, and we're making more strategic partners to move into large scale collaborations that can last 3 to 5 years as opposed to single events.
Oh, that's
So
fantastic.
so Chelsea, do you think that with your pivoting that you were going to continue that route after COVID-19? You know, is that something that you see that your company is going to continue to do?
We're still in the area in which if someone were to request it of us, then we could do that. But right now, because my team is so small and we have to really focus, we're really starting to work just on those strategic partnerships to continue with our original mission of sending care packs to deployed troops.
Okay. So that is your way of surviving, by just you're shoring up those strategic partnerships. Okay.
Correct.
That's awesome. So anyone else want to give, you have anything else, Chelsea? I'm sorry.
No, that's it.
Well,
I relinquish the floor.
Wow.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. I mean, and all the hard work you guys put in to help the healthcare industry as well, because that's a good way to get your name out there and to keep you still moving throughout the pandemic. So, does anyone else want to share? Lisa, Steve, Donna, don't be scared.
Lisa's gonna go.
Lisa, you're gonna go? Okay,
I'll
go
after
ahead.
her.
Sure, I'm happy to go. Hi, everybody, and thank you so much for this opportunity to sit and chat with all of you and your familiar faces. For us, I can really identify with what Chelsea was saying, because Sherilyn will know how much of a struggle everything was for us our first couple of years. And 2019 was like amazing. It was like finally people were finding us and we were having lines and our freaking doorbell wouldn't stop ringing every time someone walked in, and it was great. And, and then, same thing, mid-March, all of a sudden it was crickets, and, we were nervous and we weren't sure as a restaurant service how to proceed, because locally the guidelines were coming out very, very slowly. And what we do is help people from kind of a health and wellness standpoint. We're not doctors, but we help people to shore up their immunity. And I was really afraid that if we just shuttered our doors, that the progress that we had made would be so difficult to rebuild again, because our niche is very challenging. We're not serving fast food in the sense that we're used to fast food. So, you have to really appeal to a specific audience, and you have to educate the rest of the audience. And so, your access to your audience changes, and everything's different. So we had to kind of adjust very quickly to online offerings. We never had that before. We had to hang banners outside and change all of our yard signs to say that we did takeout and pickup and online ordering. We had to update all of our social media to share our new practices and procedures, and train all of our team members to, do all of the extra precautions on top of our standard precautions. We did really, with the help of some donations from friends of mine out of state, actually, we were able to serve volunteers lunches and serve nurses juices that were fresh and cold pressed for about a month at a time. So that was really a great feeling to be able to do that and use that opportunity to keep our team busy. I didn't let my team go. you know, because it was so tenuous, instead I reduced everyone's hours and staggered shifts and did a lot more time out front myself. And now we're starting to get busy again, with the exception of like the first week of school was crickets again, because everybody didn't, you know what, they were all off of their regular schedule. But a big change for us has been that I have mostly kids working for me that are in high school. And so where they were all working varied hours during the summer, we knew they would be mostly transferring to the evening. But they're only available now 2.5 hours a day because their schedule online for Zoom, it goes until like 4:00 in the afternoon. And so most of them can't get to me till 4:30, and we close at 7. So that's been a challenge. And our day shift steady person is taking care of her grandmother in Florida for the rest of the fall. And my longtime supervisor, I have a young man that started with me at 16, and now he's an adult figuring out his life. And he grew into a supervisory role with us and trainer, and, you know, he's become so valuable to me. And, you know, I've been bracing myself because it's soon time for him to leave the nest and join the military himself. So we're very excited for him, and, you know, trepidatious about how we'll go on without all of the help that he's been giving me. But those were some of the things. I think we'll come out of it stronger and better. I think we've forged some new alliances, and it forced us to be very creative. You know, just when we thought we didn't have any more push, because those first couple of years were so hard, I was like, well, we've pushed before, we'll push again. So
that's the veteran spirit. That's what we do. And we find a way to make it work. And it looks like you can see how much the community needs you with regards to, especially those who are trying to beef up their immunity. They're trying to eat more healthy, but they don't really know what to do. So it's like the community needs you, and you need the community.
Yeah.
And so it appears to me that it's a win-win, you know, for you. And I just have a question for you.
Yeah.
I'm also very proud. I'm very, very, very proud of you and Justin. You have weathered the storm, and it's been a journey that I think you'll never forget. And I'm just really, really, really proud of both of you. And I'm so happy that you joined us today, because you do have a wonderful story. And but I have a question. I wanted to know, did you take the PPP for your employees?
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. I forgot to say.
Yes.
So early on, we applied for the PPP and received it, and then applied for the EIDL. And I have to admit, I did not understand, you know, the automatic process when you're online in the midst of applying, and there's a scroll bar. And I thought that the amount that you're requesting that's just the amount you were getting. So since I applied for the PPP first and had already received funds, I was only applying for a smaller amount, and I ended up getting the smaller amount plus the PPP because so that was a little messy. But we did also receive a grant from the VA 30-day fund just prior to that. So
great.
Yeah, so that helped with the payroll.
Okay, that's fantastic. I thought you did, but you know, working with so many different clients and you know, listening to Don tell about all of his every morning at 9 o'clock, hard to keep it straight on who did what, especially when you get old like me, or I like to say seasoned, you know, seasoned. So, Yeah, so I was a positive, but I also wanted you to tell how you spent it. And I'm glad you did take it. You applied for it. There were several people I spoke with who I was begging them to, and they wouldn't because it was government money and they didn't want to go near it. And honestly, I don't think that two of them made it. I think they had to close their doors.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sad. I'm very sad to hear that. And I went through that debate as well, you know, about whether or not to apply and, you know, what's my level of responsibility with that? And do I want to have debt? You know, I was
Right.
spending all this time trying to get out of debt and I was, you know, this close. So, you know, that was one of those concerns.
But about these loans, if you apply for any piece of it that you can apply for forgiveness, do that, because that is free money.
Yeah.
For a small business owner, that can sometimes be the difference between survival or not.
Yeah.
You know, so I think you saw that. Thanks so much, Lisa.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it. And I was going to say, Nancy, are you still there? Oh, she stepped away. Are you still there?
I'm here.
Okay,
my internet's been intermittent today, so I thought I'd go off.
I saw you out of the corner of my eye, but then you were gone. So I was like, I'd like to, first of all, thank you for joining us. I know I saw you smiling a couple of times with people were saying. I want to introduce Nancy Gurdon. Nancy is our executive director for the IIE. And she's also as busy. I mean, she's got, I don't even know how many projects. The president just asked her to take on a very important project that the university and the city and the whole region is looking to, and that's the maritime industry. And so he's asked her to take over a project. So she'll be working a lot on that, but she'll still be hanging around here and trying to help, the VBOC, the Women's Business Center, Tempo, the IIE folks while she's doing it. But just wanted to introduce you to some of our clients. They're all fabulous. You can tell that they are amazing small business owners and veteran entrepreneurs and military spouses. And they're doing great stuff. So thank you for joining us today. Is there anything you would like to say? Feel free.
Yeah, so just a couple things. First of all, I think I know everybody on this call. It's pretty exciting, actually.
That's good.
It really is. It really is. It's so rewarding to see what each of you have been doing. And, pre-pandemic, and also during this really, really, really challenging time. And I just think it's really remarkable what each of you have done with your respective companies. And you're truly models for all of us. And I hope, Sherilyn, we can actually share this video with others, because I think it's really just speaks to also, I think, all of your respective military training. I really, really do. I really believe it's part of what makes you different sets of entrepreneurs, and you can be models for all of us. But anyway, I just want to congratulate everybody. I'm so excited. And, I even though I have this maritime assignment, it is a temporary assignment because we have to keep up the drumbeat, if you will, for innovation and entrepreneurship. That's really where the fun lies.
Yeah, and tell them about the grant we just won.
So this is very exciting. The Kauffman Foundation, which you may have heard about, they are a very prestigious national organization. They focus on entrepreneurship and innovation. That's really what they try to reward. So they're particularly interested in funding programs that really build capacity in entrepreneurship. So whether it's a community program, university, those kinds of things. But at any rate, ODU just found out, it hasn't been officially announced, but we'll certainly share the release. We have just been awarded a Kauffman grant, first time ever, for it's $400,000 over 4 years. And it's in conjunction with our Strome College of Business, which of course runs a number of courses and certificates in entrepreneurship, but they also have a program in transitional entrepreneurship, which relates to active duty military who are transitioning from into the workforce, women who are transitioning into the workforce in one way or another, individuals who are in economically disadvantaged communities, and immigrants. So the concept is people making change. And so Cheryl Lynn and the VBOC raised their hand to be part of this application along with our Women's Business Center, and they were both included.
Nice.
So I think it's really, really exciting. And
It's very exciting.
part of the feedback that we apparently already got is the fact that this center for veterans exists, and that we have examples of companies such as those of you on this webinar who can speak to the results. So it's very, very exciting, and hopefully there'll be a formal announcement pretty soon. But again, I want to thank Sherilyn and her team, because they stepped up. They didn't have to do it, and they did. And they put the materials together, and they jumped in there on the proposal. You know how these things are, tight turnarounds. Got to have it now. And it didn't deter them. They put it together and got it in. So it's great.
Congrats.
All right. Yeah. So we're excited about it. Excited to see, after, the impact of what I always think about, the results, like where are we going to, what's going to come at the end of the grant, or what will we have accomplished, and what's the value. And I think we bring a lot of value, and I think they could see that through our proposal, and that we've been doing this for enough years now, that because grants, I don't know if you know it or not, but in the grant world, if you're not successful, you don't stick around long. They pull it and you don't have a job. So we've been around. ODU has had this grant for, it'll be 12 years. Wait a minute. It'll be 10 years. 10 years. I've been running at 7.5. It'll be 8 in March, but ODU's had it for 10 years. So there was a predecessor before me, and she was there for 2 years, the first 2 years. But anyway, it'll be interesting to see how things turned out. Keep an eye on your social media, and I'm sure Emily's going to be putting some stuff out, and you guys can see what's actually happening with this grant.
Absolutely.
And thank you so much, Nancy, for joining us.
This is exciting. This is very motivational. I hope, for me, but also to hear your stories and your energy and that you're looking ahead. I mean, I think that's the other thing, and all of us who are in this space, it can be easy to lose heart. It really can. And I think it's important for all of us to be models in our communities and with the people that we know. So congratulations to everybody.
All you have to do is work with folks like these people, and you just stay motivated. You stay excited. I get all excited, and they know I do, all of them. But I just wanted to thank you and appreciate it, and let you know that we are recording this today. And so we will be putting, once everything's done, Emily is going to send out a link, and we're also going to put it on our website as a podcast for people that want to watch it. Yeah. All right. Okay. Thank you again, Nancy.
Okay.
Okay. And okay, who wants to go next?
It's gonna be Steve. Steve is the man.
Steve,
About all that.
you're the only man who I guess has
That's right.
to get on here with all these women.
Well, y'all are all great.
I know you
All
can
of you.
handle it though.
And I know most of you guys, so it's a pleasure to be here. Again, my name is Steve Waddell. I'm founder of Nasoni. Just before I jump into who Nasoni is, you mentioned aircraft carriers in the beginning. Part of my career was for new shipbuilding, and I did a lot of transformational process improvement. So, like an effort where I redesigned the entire island structure from this old mil-spec glass that wasn't as good as a ballistic protection around it to a new whitewater clear glass that is as good to protect the people inside. and
Wow.
also replaced all the structure to a new approach that saved thousands of man hours. So I became known for process improvement. And at one point I looked back on my life and I said, you know, you talked a minute ago about did you make a difference, right? And I looked at my life and I said, well, is my career, is what I've done in the past so far really what I wanted to do to make a difference in life? And I said, no, it's not. What is it I want to do? And I decided I wanted to develop a product that would make people's lives better by disrupting a mature market, and save water to benefit the planet, and along the way be a good role model for other entrepreneurs and my kids, right, my sons.
Great.
So I decided to reinvent the faucet. You can see it here. This is what it is. And we've won a lot of awards. We also have filters that can go under the counter.
Steve, show the actual product so they can see it. Put it close to the
Sure.
camera.
So this is the faucet, and the way it works is there's a little lever on the side, and you rotate it. It shuts off the downward flow, and it gives you a fountain stream. And I've learned so many new uses. Like my wife, all you ladies might know, at night you might want to get rid of makeup, but my wife used to cup her hands and splash her face and get water on the counters, messy. Now she turns on a warm, gentle fountain stream and just dips her face in it, it runs right off.
I want it.
Home eye wash. We talked to the former CEO of Extendicare in Canada, largest retirement home chain in Canada, 22,000 employees. And he told us that there are two issues they deal with: dehydration and oral hygiene with seniors. And he thought the faucets would be really helpful for that. So anyway, this is what I've done. And we got our first shipment of inventory in late last year. So in January, February, we are onboarding what we call manufacturer representatives. We're bringing on a sales force, right? The experts in the industry to do that. One of my board members is a local manufacturer representative for Chicago Faucets, Simmons, and he owns Virginia Maryland Associates. He is on my board. He also invested in my company. And so he was bringing on board different representatives, one in California called Delco Sales. They represent California, Nevada, and Hawaii. We brought on Champions Marketing in Texas that covered Texas and Louisiana, Ben Franklin in Florida, and again, Virginia and Maryland's covered by CJ. As we did all that, we sent them out pallet loads of faucets and filters. Then COVID hits, right? All of a sudden they're shut off from meeting with people. You can't go to retirement homes and meet with people, right? They shut all that contact off. And it's like, okay, what are we going to do? So around May, you know, as we're trying to think through, is this ever going to go away? What are the other approaches we could take? And we decided to pivot to an e-commerce model. So one of the things we learned as we investigated is more products are researched now on Amazon than Google. So the first place people look is Amazon. And so I looked into Amazon and learned they have a program called Amazon Launchpad. Have you guys heard of that?
Yes.
It's a program most people don't even know about. But Amazon Launchpad is great because they give you what's called a premium enhanced brand content. If you go to my store, amazon.com/Nasoni, you're going to see a storefront that's probably one of the best. I don't want to brag, but it's awesome. It looks like one of the best you've seen. Video, there's all kind of content. Then you click on the product links therein. There's also a lot more content in there. And it's all because Amazon in the Launchpad program allows you to do that. Mm-hmm. And they also give us things like ASIN lock. So somebody else can't come on our listing and make changes to it. Mm-hmm. So there's lots of benefits. You know, there's a little extra fee. It's a 5% extra charge, but it's worth it. It's a 1-year program. And when we graduate from it, we get to keep that enhanced brand content that we created on our listings. So there's a lot of value in that. So that's the first thing. Second thing is we also decided to enhance our Shopify site and start working on e-commerce on Shopify. And I got a company called Sivo Marketing out in Utah. And I've hired them to help that. They're in the middle of starting a Google AdWords campaign. Google, in fact, invited me to their Digital Accelerator program. So they've also stood up some things to help us. And then there's something really, really neat that I want Nancy and Cheryl and you to hear as well. It's the coolest thing. One of my business partner, my business relationship manager in Minnesota, is working with a guy in Boston. And he's a guy from India. And he's a PhD. He saw the faucet and he said, you know, in India, we deal with monsoon season and then there's a drought. There's no water. So the monsoon fills the reservoirs, but over time, the reservoirs are just being depleted. So they have a major water crisis when it's the dry season. And we think of California having a water crisis. He said, think of California on steroids, because there's 1.5 billion people in India. So long story short, we're in the process of standing up Sony India. That is really cool.
Amazing.
First step is we're applying for a patent. We've got that already been applied. Here's the cool thing about that. If you've heard of a PCT, it's called a Patent Cooperation Treaty. So when you apply for a patent, you can extend that patent to other countries through this treaty agreement, but it's only for a limited time. That time period expired in January of this year. However, in India, because of COVID, they took away that restriction of the inability to apply. And so right now, we were able to apply just this week for our patent in India.
Awesome.
Oh, that's awesome. That's fantastic.
So the first step is we're applying for a patent. The second thing is we're setting up what's called an LLP. It's like an LLC. And so it's about
Limited liability partnership.
Yeah, so it's about $1,500, and for the patent, it costs us $500 filing fee plus $286 to the attorney company over there. The really cool thing is, though, there is a guy in India, Vikas is his name. He is our partner there. He is so well connected with the government and investors. So
great.
That's the coolest thing.
Super.
He's pretty sure he's got investors that'll want to be a part of this, and apparently the Indian people like American products.
Awesome.
So at least 30 million people, that's a big target for us. Also the government utilities, like they have a massive train system. So
I need to pull you back a little bit, Steve. I need you to talk a little bit more local.
Okay.
Out of time.
Okay, sure.
And so I want you to tell about how you maneuvered and pivoted and came up with the idea with regards to selling to the luxury townhome or apartment complex there in Suffolk.
So the other thing we want to do is identify the B2B buyers, right? So that's a big market for us as well. And CJ, again, is on my board. He's the guy that owns Virginia Marketing Associates, Maryland Associates. Locally, there is a redevelopment effort in downtown Suffolk, and it's called Peanut Crossing. I don't know how many have heard of it. But
I love the name.
Yeah, they take dilapidated properties and they renovate them into luxury apartments. And so that opportunity came up. CJ approached the developer about our faucets, and that's going to be the first larger scale implementation of our faucets in a B2B effort.
Oh, wow, that's beautiful.
The other thing is, you'll notice.
How many units was it? How many units was it?
It's 58.
58.
Yeah. So if you look at a lot of normal faucets are like this in your bathroom. There's two holes, one for hot, one for cold. But a lot of hotels and things use what's called a single post faucet. This is a single post faucet, from Delta, and it looks like the handle's an afterthought. Nancy, you see that?
I do.
You see how doesn't it look like an afterthought? Like it's just stuck on? Yeah, it's integrated. So one of our new pivots is to have a faucet that'll save time installing because it's only one hole. And we have this cover plate that can go over the two hole locations. So you can install it in either one.
Awesome.
And you guys thought I was excited? Oh, he's like
That's
this.
wonderful.
Isn't it crazy? It's so cool. He's
I like to have fun if you can't tell.
It's like he just discovered, the most amazing thing in the world.
It's just a faucet. That's the dumbest thing, right? It's just a faucet. So my grandfather was in the
I want one in my bathroom. Because I can rinse my mouth after brushing my teeth, and I can then stick my whole face in it to get my makeup on.
But my grandfather was in the military, and during World War II, actually came into Norfolk, and he lives in Tennessee before he passed, and he owned Bolton Brothers Plumbing, and I never thought I would be involved in any kind of plumbing, and now it's kind of come full circle, right?
Yes.
Well, my dad is the one that introduced me to entrepreneurship as a child. I had to work in all aspects of his plumbing, heating, and air conditioning mechanical company. And so plumbing that's how I had a roof over my head and food on the table. So plumbing can make you some money.
So one thing we were doing too is trying to give back to the community by speaking to some of the schools. I was invited to North Carolina to a middle school and talk to their class back in February, just before COVID hit. And I developed our process, and I gave this to them. This is our new product development process that I developed. And so I gave them a copy of it. We were also supposed to speak in Virginia Beach, but we got shut down because of COVID. So we may be doing some of that virtually next. I don't know yet.
Can you guys tell he's an engineer?
So Steve, did you take the PPP of the idle?
Yes, I did take the PPP. Still waiting to hear on the idle. So we'll hear what happens.
Okay. Awesome. So I'm assuming that you're going forward. You're going to be going forward. You're looking forward, which is great.
I'm nonstop on this, and
Yes.
kind of my motto.
Oh, we know. I know.
Outwork, but you always got to work like somebody's out to eat your lunch, and because I know
That's the truth.
So,
That's the truth.
And I love your excitement about that faucet. I love your
Thank you. So the other thing I did, because of this pivot, I don't know enough about e-commerce, right? And so there's a site called Clarity. It's clarity.fm if you don't know it. And you can actually hire people for phone calls by the minute. And I actually paid a guy $3.33 a minute who is an expert in e-commerce. This was a few months back. And now I hired him as my coach because he's telling me about MoFu, tofu, and all. I'm like, wait a minute, what's that? Middle of the funnel, top of the funnel, bottom of the funnel. And he tells me things like, when you're on Amazon, that's the bottom of the funnel. Somebody knows they need something, so they come in at that lane and they're looking to buy. If you're at the top of the funnel, that's more like Google AdWords, Facebook ads, stuff. So all these things are new to me, but I hired a digital coach to help me figure it out. So
that's amazing. That's awesome.
Awesome.
Well, we need to move on, and I can tell you right now, we're going to have a round two, because we're not going to get through the other three questions.
Sorry about that.
I should say the other two questions. Okay, there she is. Donna.
Yes. Can you hear me okay? Are you able to hear me?
Yes,
okay?
we can hear you.
Okay, good, great.
Thank you again for joining us. I know you're so busy, and I was really tickled to see that you could work this in.
Well, I'm happy to do so, and it's interesting. I was really excited to share the story. So Gov Solutions actually started in 2004, so we've been in business now for 16 years. We started as a furniture, fixtures, and equipment company and an authorized Herman Miller dealer. I noticed, Steve, that you're sitting in a Herman Miller mirror chair. Thank you very much for your support.
My wife mentioned when I told her you're going to be on here, she said something about you and a party bus to Richmond. Maybe that comes up later.
Oh, maybe. Oh, geez. Oh, boy. That might be for another call, too. I wasn't expecting that.
Herman Miller chairs. I used
So,
to sell Herman Miller chairs.
did you? Wonderful. See, we have a lot of supporters there.
I
That
sold them
didn't happen in
too.
2004.
I sold them.
Awesome. Excellent. That actually happened in 2009. We became an authorized Herman Miller dealer, the first one to be headquartered here in Hampton Roads. So to bring us up to date with COVID-19 adventures, I was on my very first annual managers retreat the beginning of March, and we were all trying to get back when COVID hit. We were actually in Jamaica and saw on the news what was happening, and literally, we were testing the waters to see how everybody would survive with us all gone, and then we were concerned about even making it back to the United States.
I guess so.
Yes, but we made it back, and as a employee benefit prior to COVID-19, we were authorizing 1 day per week for the employee to work from home. So we were naturally testing out all of our, technology when we, all had to retreat to our homes to work. So that actually was a huge benefit for us because it was a matter of we did make it back. And then we said, grab your laptops, go work from home, tested out computer systems. And we are primarily a government contractor, but if in 2019 I started another division for Gov Solutions because we sell commercially and have been selling Herman Miller commercially and other manufacturers since 2009. But with the name Gov Solutions, it somewhat implies that we might only do business with the federal government. So I started a company called Tidewater Collaborative Design, and I had a business partner. And 1 year, we started in March of 2019. So 2020, we decided that we needed to, Gov Solutions bought out the partner. And so we do still have that piece of the business. It's just, I decided that we needed to move back to our roots, focus on our federal customer, focus on construction, because also a couple of years ago, we started a construction division. So Gov Solutions is design, build, furnish. So we will design your building, we will build your building, and we will furnish your building. And we've been
Turnkey.
Turnkey and really get that moving. And we've had, you know, some folks have been very open to it. I do think it's the wave of the future, that and online sales for furniture. So we were really making a lot of pivots from 2019 to 2020, and then COVID hit. I was too on the fence as to whether or not to apply for the PPP loan. I actually wound up doing that last minute.
Good.
Before that happened,
Did you get it in? Did you get it in before the close?
I did. I did.
Okay,
I had a wonderful banker who reached out to me and said, Donna, are you planning to apply for this? And at that point, because I felt like we had, you know, general construction really didn't apply, and but furniture does, because our furniture manufacturers all pretty much shut down or have some, you know, situation where they were not fully operating, and then the residual to that is if they're not shipping, I'm not in, you know, we're not tracking anything, we're not installing anything. So we did have a hiccup with that. We did obtain the PPP loan on the first round. And I also received an email on the 4th of April from 504 Capital, from Brent Swanson. And he said, Donna, we're forgiving your 504 loan. The SBA is forgiving that for the next 6 months. So basically the SBA paid their portion of the mortgage for 6 months on our headquarters building that's here in a hub zone. So, and we wound up actually hiring people because the construction division grew somewhat, because construction is really, you know, that's one of the essential industries. So that actually grew, and I wound up hiring an additional 4 people throughout.
Was the funding from the PPP allowed you to hire the 4?
No, that was separate because we just needed to have on-site staff for our construction division. What the PPP loan did is it kept all of our furniture installers, our project coordinators, those that are working on the furniture side employed. We did not let go of anyone on our furniture side, even though we did have a bit of a hiccup with, you know, non-shipment and factories closing and us not having enough to do. We cross-trained to construction. So it kept everybody busy.
Well, it's crazy right now, and it had started before the pandemic, you know, with the housing boom. I mean, not boom, but you know, home sales were just going through the roof. People, you know, it was being sold as soon as they put the sign out. Or, I mean, it's crazy. My brother's a realtor, and it's the same way in Florida. They're going crazy. They have 1,000 people moving there every day.
Wow. Well,
so their housing market is insane, and construction too. Have you noticed? You've looked around over the past couple of years, and you're seeing a lot of construction.
Yeah, everyone that we wound up hiring was for our construction division.
Well, you didn't take the EIDL? You didn't need the EIDL?
Well, I think so they didn't tell me what this loan was, basically the forgiveness of the 504. And when I read into it, I'm thinking between the PPP and the 504, that was in essence an EIDL. I'm not 100% sure on that.
No, that they're different, Donna. They're different.
Okay.
Yeah, they're different. The SBA actually forgave anybody that had an SBA loan with them. They actually forgave 6 months of all those loans for anyone.
Correct. That is what happened. Yes.
Right. And so the EIDL loan is something separate that they apply to people.
Yeah.
We did not apply for that. We only applied for the PPP.
Okay.
And we did receive that. And we're working on the forgiveness for that now. And I believe
that was my next question.
Yeah, I believe that we fall into the easy category because we actually wound up hiring some folks and we didn't let people go. So
Awesome.
Oh, okay.
Awesome.
That's fantastic. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Great stuff. Is Miss Susan still there? Susan, are you still with us? It says she hasn't left us, but she may.
But I think she might be working.
Something.
Might
She
be
may
working.
be working. Yeah.
Actually, everyone kind of, Shirley, actually everyone kind of answered all the questions like within one
They
question.
really did.
They kind of answered everyone. Yeah, that we had.
Uh-huh. The only thing.
If I could just say, I did not know about the SBA forgiveness. So when all of this was happening, I was really nervous about how was I going to pay my loan.
Mhm.
And so for like 2 weeks, I kept trying to reach my banker up in, I think, Hampton or Newport News to say, you know, what happens? I don't know what happens, you know, tell me what to do. And they couldn't give me an answer. My banker was like working from home, but I couldn't talk. I still haven't talked to him to this day.
Well, and the lenders were overwhelmed. Okay.
Right.
First of all, the SBA in 2 weeks, you know, and I know this because I'm in contact with SBA headquarters in DC.
Mm-hmm.
2 weeks, they set up one of the largest lending opportunities in the history of our country.
Yes.
Them working with the Federal Reserve and the Treasury. Okay, so the Federal Reserve is, you know, gave them the green light to go. Okay, green light to go, and the Federal Reserve will be doing the due diligence part, meaning they're going to make sure that every single one of these loans that were granted were all correct. There were no shenanigans going on.
Yeah.
So they're going to be overseeing it, whereas the Treasury is the one that actually dispenses the funds, okay, to the lenders to give to you. So that's how it kind of works. So this came out of nowhere. SBA set it up in 2 weeks. It was approved by Congress immediately. And then there it was, and no one who was trained, no one knew anything. It was one of those, you have to figure it out as you go.
Mm-hmm.
Overwhelmed. And if you did not have an SBA lender that was your banker, you were in trouble.
And I couldn't reach my lender.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm bringing this up.
Yeah.
You and thousands of other people had the same problem. They were overwhelmed. They couldn't handle it. And then, like I said also, well, in a nutshell, what I want to tell you all is you need to have more than one lender.
I did.
What happened, Lisa? Because you only had one lender.
No, I had two.
You have two.
You're exactly right. That's exactly what happened here. My other lender, they were very tight on how they pulled everything together. And so the PPP came through, and then I was able to just keep up the payments. So I'm just saying, I to this day, I didn't know that there was a grace period.
That's why you're supposed to pick the phone up and call, hey, Don, it's Lisa. Or now Saritha, hey Saritha, this is, Lisa, I need some help. I got some questions.
Okay, now I'm paid down more, so.
No, that's fine. Let this be lesson learned for you. You have got a team, all of you. You have a whole team behind you, okay? And you just forget. And I know Chelsea sometimes has forgotten too. Forgotten. We will do I've called up the SBA in DC, and I've said, I've got this client, she needs this, blah, 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 and no one is able to provide me with any information, and I need this information, and I need it right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I got it right now, because they connected me to an associate administrator of another department that could give me the information. Okay, so I am not shy when it comes to our veterans, their families. look out, don't get in my way, because I will knock you down to give them what they need. And that's the way it is. And I want all of you to remember that, because it hurts me, hurts my feelings when I look at you, Lisa, and think about, oh my God, you know, we could have helped her like that. So
it all worked out.
It did. Thank goodness you had a second banker.
Mm-hmm.
A banker's
So you need to diversify always in all areas.
one thing to share about the banking. The bank I was dealing with, I had to do a lot of wire transfers to overseas, for example, and they charge you a lot. And I ended up going to Bayport. Bayport Credit Union has a business side. And so I have a business account with Bayport. They actually did my PPP. And so, you know, if you guys don't like your bank, you might want to think about Bayport because they got good rates too.
That's great. That's good information to know. And like Fulton Bank, oh my gosh, Sabrina Davis was amazing.
That was the good bank that helped me.
Yeah, well, I was going to say Fulton bends over backwards for small businesses. And I had my chiropractor, he's a small business owner. And I was there having, this is a true story, I was there having an adjustment, and his wife was around the corner at a desk trying to figure out how to apply for the PPP. And I heard him talking to, I could hear the door was open, I could hear him talking to her, and it sounded like she didn't know what to do, and they were really frustrated. And so when he came back in to the room, I said, you know, you're always helping me with my back. Help you with the PPP.
Fine.
Their problem was they had two lenders, but guess what? Neither one of them were SBA certified lenders. Okay. And besides that, they couldn't even get anybody to call them back.
Yeah.
So I said, I know just the lady in the bank that can help you. I literally picked up the phone, called Sabrina, picked up my cell phone, called Sabrina, couldn't believe she answered because she's swamped.
So busy.
And I told her the story. She said, send them right on over to me. If they can come right now, she goes, we'll get this knocked out. And they weren't even a client of Fulton Bank.
Mm-hmm.
Most of these lenders, if you're not a client, they were so busy,
Yeah, that's tough.
can't help you.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's what they were running into.
I sent businesses to Fulton because Fulton really walked us through the process very well. And Tara Jones was phenomenal as well. We have so much information to share.
Mm-hmm.
She was the SBA contact, and she was phenomenal.
Well, like I said, it takes a village. I was talking about it earlier when we came on. It certainly does take a village. I've grown two companies all by myself. I didn't have a team because I didn't know anything about the VBOC. Okay. And I guess that's probably another reason why I want to give so much and help so much, is because I know the struggles that I went to for, several years with no one basically to help. I was the one that was doing the small business coaching. That was my business. Only not just strictly with veterans, but no one could help me because everybody was coming to me for the help, couldn't get, so it takes a village, and we're all here for each other. And sometimes, we connect, I may say, we've got a client that's struggling with something that's government contracting. We may say, hey, look, here's two people you could call that might be able to help you. That's had, they've been there, done that. That's Arizona Brown and Donna Long. Give them a call, or Susan Hunter. I mean, if it's IT, whatever. Because, they just did. Maybe we know something you just did, and you're able to give another veteran, some help and pay it forward. Somebody said earlier how good it made them feel. It does. When you do something, that's why I guess I'm usually feeling pretty good, because I'm talking to people like you guys, and I love it. I love helping you, and I know you all appreciate it. And you help us because you participate in things like this that we can send out and let other people see. This is how we can market, and not only market the VBOC and what we're doing, because it's outreach. It's not really marketing, it's outreach.
Yes.
How you can outreach, just like Chelsea. Chelsea is trying to grow her resources and make other, build relationships that she needs, excuse me, to achieve the goals she's got. And so this is outreach, and stuff like this can help bring that out, because it's going to be put out. The link will be out on our social media platforms so people can check it out. I think it's going to be huge. I think people are going to love it, especially those entrepreneurs or the wannabe entrepreneurs, or even the ones that have been around for a while and be veteran. So I want to end by, we're almost on time. I want to end on a note of just saying how amazing you all are, how proud our center is of you. And we've always are, we want to be here for you and have your back. And even if it's something you don't think we can help you with, you call anyway, because you don't know all of the different resources and things we have up our sleeve to help you. And, I see Arizona back there just smiling from ear to ear. She knows what I'm talking about. And if, sometimes just call and say, hey, just want to let you know I won this contract. This is exciting, and I want to share it with you. Yeah, because we share it, we pass it on, and that's another part of how you're, how you're promoting your company and what you're doing. You're successful. Saritha, was there anything you would like to say? And then I'm going to open it up and see if you all have questions.
Well, no, I just wanted to thank everybody for allowing us to hear your story. I'm really happy and really proud of you guys for keep pushing, and really your business doing well. So we look forward to hearing more of your success stories as we go on. And it's a pleasure to meet all of you. So hopefully I can get to see your face to face.
You as well.
That'd be great.
Thanks, Teresa.
Well, anybody have any questions or anything you want to say? I'm sorry we missed out on getting Susan Hunter on. We're definitely going to have to do this again. It's been, I think, awesome, and I knew it would be. That's why I was excited couldn't wait.
Comment, Shirley.
Steve?
My wife Becky Reed, that she has been recognized as a veteran business employer because she had veterans that work for her, or has, and she would also be willing to help coach anybody that's trying to get into government business, and she had a really cool pivot. A big portion of her work is in classroom training, on site and here in Suffolk, for the Coast Guard, the Navy, everybody. And as you know, all that's been shut down. So,
well, Steve, go ahead, Steve. Then I want to say something.
It to creating virtual and learning classes, and they've been really good at it. And she also does PMP training, which she has also moved to a virtual capability. So that's another pivot that I thought I'd share. From Becky, but Becky always is willing to help companies that are trying to get into the government business, and however she can help.
Thank you for sharing that, Steve.
Arizona knows her.
Yes, I know.
Tell Becky I say hello.
Becky is definitely one of our mentors. She's one of our mentors, but so is Steve.
Oh yeah.
Well, I'm going to say maybe I can talk to her about being an SBA mentor.
Yeah, she's already mentoring us. We're trying to work some stuff
That's
together.
Awesome. We should make it official. We should make it official for her to be an SBA mentor.
Yeah.
That program.
There's
And
a lot to give back.
Steve's facility, I don't know if any of you have ever been to his and Becky's facility.
Oh, I have.
It's wonderful, isn't it? And Steve offered to do a reboot in his training room, Saritha. What was it? It was the first part of the year, something, whatever, last year. And we should do that. We should love to take you up on it, Steve, as soon when things open back up and we can do a training. We're going to love to have a business to business reboot up there.
Cool.
But
yeah, I'm happy to do that too at my place.
What's that?
I'm happy to do that too at my place.
Okay, Donna, thank you so much.
Yes, my pleasure.
You know, it would be cool. We could do it in different places, different locations. That would be excellent. And,
Yes, and you know, Becky and Steve, they just trailblazers in our industry. We look up to them.
Did they? Oh,
Yeah.
that's fantastic.
Absolutely.
Good. So see, this is all a big small business, veteran small business family.
I had a question for Steve. And I don't know if this applies in any way to what you're doing, but when you were talking about India overseas and their need for water, during this COVID crisis, it's been coming up about Native Americans not having access to water. And I don't know if in any way that ties into what you're providing, but is that something that can be explored?
Sure, everything's possible, right?
Steve will explore anything.
He's an explorer. I figured that one out.
I have a company called Rule 29 that did our branding for us, and they're out in Chicago, and they were looking into doing some things for Native Americans. One of the things they do is they give back by supporting Life Water. Have you heard of Life Water International?
Yes.
So they created a website for them and other things like that. They're actually a registered B Corp. So they had mentioned to me about American Indian, and possibly what we could do. One of the things we did to pivot during this COVID is to update our website we have now a water savings calculator. So if you go on nasoni.com, in the top left, there's a link. Click on that, and you can actually see the rates for your water. If they're the same for your region, you just change the number of people in your house, and it'll show you how much you could save by switching to a fountain faucet.
Oh, wow.
It's really cool, Lisa. Go to nasoni.com, Steve. Yeah. You go and you can check it out. He showed me how it works. It's really cool.
If you have any questions, just give me a shout.
I sure will. I literally just had yesterday, I opened a water bill that had jumped 20,000 gallons. Which I don't use I use between 2,000 and 5,000 a month. And this happened to me a couple of years ago with this business, and it was about $5,000 worth of billing that I had to prove to them they were reading the wrong meter.
Oh my gosh. I had that happen at my house, my new house.
With our listings on Amazon, we're in the process of figuring out how to add coupons. So we'll be doing that for discounts. But if anybody wants a faucet, let me know and I'll get you a discount.
Oh, neat. Cool.
Absolutely.
Thank
Okay,
you.
well, all good things must come to an end. So thank you all again. And hey, and I want you to put this in the back of your mind. I love these roundtables. They have all been fantastic. When I started it, you remember Arizona, this will be the third year. We had National Small Business Week this week, but the first week in November is National Veteran Small Business Week. So we have to shine. We got to show headquarters. You know, we are an organization down here to be dealt with. Okay, we are awesome. So we got to show them that. So and this one's been so great. It's our very first virtual one, isn't it, Sarita? Very first virtual. And it, you know, first one they said virtual training. I'm like, virtual, you know, meetings or events. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So it hasn't been as bad as I thought it would be. It's been pretty cool. So I'm going to do another one of these the first week in November. And if any of you want to email me any suggestions, or you have any ideas, or you want to participate. Oh, Arizona.
I got some ideas also. I want to participate, but I have some
ideas.
Good.
Good. This way we can really get something going that's I think fun and informative, and really gives us an outlet where we can share all this stuff and learn from each other. Yes, Lisa.
I was wondering, and this just came to me because I was thinking about communicating with you guys, offline. Is it possible for us to have a VBOC group online where we are able to shoot
Facebook
questions?
You,
Facebook
you
or
mean
LinkedIn.
you mean of VBOC clients?
Yeah, just us, the people that work with you and may
Sure.
not have a chance to meet each other or talk to each other, and you can shoot a question out there and maybe somebody there can answer that question. Or
You mean, are you talking about just emailing us or just having a group?
She's talking about a Facebook group that's private and
Okay.
only the
All right.
VBOC clients.
Well, I'm sure we probably can. Lisa, contact Troy.
Okay.
Sure.
Or Emily. Emily's one that's really doing it.
Yeah, Sherilyn, this is Don.
Yeah. Hey, look who showed up. We're at the tail end.
Well, I just figured I'd jump in. Yes.
Better later than never.
Lisa, we can get that set up. That won't be a problem. Hi.
Awesome. Hi. Miss
And
you,
it's
Don.
great. I've been listening in on the whole thing. I just figured that everybody else, we need to get you all in there to talk. And Steve, I haven't seen you in a couple of years, but looking forward to seeing you again.
Likewise.
And for all the rest of you, thank you very much for being on. And I will definitely work on that. That's a great idea, Lisa.
Thank you.
Don, do me a favor.
Yes, ma'am.
Send an email to Susan because we were letting people go as they volunteered to go, and we didn't get to her.
Yeah, I know.
And she dropped off. So I want to send her an email. Well, I'll do it. Send her an email saying that I was sorry she didn't get. If I'd known she was on a time constraint, we would have had her go first or whenever.
Yeah, I'll take care of that.
Yeah. Okay. Then just let her know that because I felt so bad when I saw that she had dropped off.
Okay. Well, everybody take care. I'm out of here.
Okay.
And,
bye, Don.
Have a safe trip.
Bye, Don.
Yeah.
Bye, Don.
Bye, Don.
Sherilyn, have a safe trip down in North Carolina.
I hope so. I hope it doesn't rain hard on me. But I thank each and every one of you again, and let's reconnect and do this again that first week in November, and hopefully, we'll have more people. It makes it interesting, in a way. But then the smaller the group, the more information you get to.
You have to buy the virtual drinks.
Oh, the virtual drinks. Okay, I'll have to figure out a way. See, you're the engineer.
Still on that party bus thing.
You're the engineer. You're the brainiac. Yeah.
It's called pre-ordering and then have it delivered on the day and hour that you want it to be delivered.
Oh, well, they would have, yeah, exactly. I'd have to know where you all are to have it delivered. Okay. Goodbye, you guys.
Bye.